In 2008, there was a 6-foot, 230-pound running back from Louisiana that was terrorizing high school defenses. This dude was running over people left and right like it was nothing at all, and it caught the attention of a lot of college coaches. Although every school in the country wanted him, he was persuaded by a guy who was starting his dynasty. He goes by the name of Nick Saban. At the time, he was one of the best recruits Nick Saban landed, not just for the running back position, but overall players. When he got to Alabama, he continued to dominate and make a name for himself. He wound up entering the NFL draft early, and it paid off big time. He was the Rookie of the Year in 2013. Things couldn't have got any better for him. He was on pace to be a franchise running back. He was making millions of dollars. He was living the dream. But however, there was one slight problem. The problem he had is extremely relatable. I know what you're thinking. Yo, Matt, what was his problem? How do I say this nicely? He liked to eat a lot of food. There's not another way to put it. He straight up liked to eat food, like many other people, including me and you. The only difference is, he didn't know when to stop, and he continued to eat and eat and eat. It even got so bad that his head coach told him if he didn't lose weight, he couldn't play for the team anymore. You're probably thinking what got him fat was he ate too much junk food or fast food. You would be slightly correct, but the main source of his meals came from sesame chicken and shrimp fried rice. According to Eddie Lacy himself, he loved it so much he couldn't quit eating it. You see, it didn't catch up to him in his first 2 to 3 seasons, but in that 4th and 5th year, it got out of hand. One of the teams he was playing for actually offered to pay him $55,000 if he would lose weight. I hope everything I've said has given you somewhat of a perspective of how bad it was. With all that being said, there is still a ton of stuff we gotta talk about and get into. But however, it leaves us with the main question today. What really happened to Eddie Lacy? What's good, y'all? Hope you're having a blessed Thanksgiving. Want to come by and say I'm extremely thankful for you guys. Hope you're thankful for me as well too. If you're not subscribed, I really appreciate it if you hit that sub button. Let's see if we can gain 100 or 200 subscribers from this video. Hope you guys enjoy. Let's continue on. Oh man, we got a good one today. His name's Eddie Lacy, but I guess we could call him Edie Lacy. That was his favorite thing to do. This story really hits home to me because I am an Alabama football fan, so I've relatively followed up with this guy ever since 2010. It's really sad considering how everything played out because he was the Rookie of the Year and only 3 to 4 years later, he was out of the league. The story we're going to talk about is also a great learning lesson. You got to eat healthy and you got to go to the gym if you don't want to be obese. We got a lot to get into and we're going to dive deep into detail on what happened. So without further ado, let's get into it. Eddie Lacy attended Dutchtown High School in Louisiana where he ran for 34 touchdowns. Oh, you thought I meant for his career? No, he had 34 touchdowns as only a junior. We see all the time where quarterbacks have 50, maybe 60 touchdowns, but for a running back to have 34 touchdowns, I thought that was insane. He was far beyond his competition. He was bigger, stronger, and I wouldn't say he was a Derrick Henry, but you wouldn't expect him to be fast with how big he was, but he was sneaky quick. When you look at his work ethic he had in high school, his skill and talent, etc., you couldn't find a much better running back. And so therefore, he was listed as a 4-star recruit. With him being in the class of 2009, this is also when Nick Saban was just on the brink of starting his dynasty. It was kind of a shock he didn't decide to go to LSU. That was his home state. Regardless of all that, he decided to commit to Alabama. You can't fault the kid. Who doesn't want to play for Nick Saban? His college career started out somewhat slow because he had to wait his turn, like many other running backs at Alabama. Look at how good Najee Harris was. He still had to wait his turn. There was also another running back ahead of him in the class of 2008 who went by the name of Trent Richardson. Speaking of Trent Richardson, we may have to make a video on him because that dude completely fell off. Richardson got to Alabama in 2009, Lacy got to Alabama in 2010. And in Eddie Lacy's first 2 seasons, 2010 and 11, he would split carries with Richardson. But after 2011, Richardson went to the NFL draft, therefore in 2012, Eddie Lacy was the go-to guy. That was the year that put him on the map and everybody was like, okay, he's not a second-string running back. He's good enough to be the main guy on even an NFL team. In his first season, he only had 400 yards. In his second season, he only had 674. In his third season, he doubled that. He had 1,322 rushing yards. When you look at the stats, they're somewhat deceiving because you're like, yo, what happened? Why did it increase so much? Like I said, it's because he was splitting carries. In his first 2 seasons, he had 13 touchdowns. In his 2012 season, he had 17 touchdowns. You see right there what I'm saying. He proved and showed he could be the main running back and do just fine. That was only his junior season. Everyone was hoping and almost expecting him to come back, but he shocked everybody and declared in 2013 he was going to the NFL draft. I don't want you to get the wrong take. He was regarded as one of the top running back prospects in that class, but if he would have came back his senior season, he probably could have won the Heisman, rushed for 2,000 yards, and easily been a first-round pick. Do I blame him for going early? No, get your bag, but there's a huge difference from being the 61st pick and let's say the 20th pick. It is what it is. After declaring for the draft, he was picked up, like I just stated, with the 61st overall pick by the Green Bay Packers. It's funny because at Alabama, they have so many 4- and 5-star recruits. You could be a backup your first 2 seasons at Bama, go to the NFL, and be a starter in your first season. That right there is exactly what happened. In 2013, his rookie year, he rushed for over 1,100 yards. I wouldn't go as too far as to saying he was a young NFL sensation, but he was making a ton of noise. Nobody in their right mind would have predicted him to rush over 1,000 yards, and he also had 11 touchdowns. I guess the reason for that is because we haven't seen a running back like him prosper in the NFL. I don't know who you compare him to. The only thing I can think of is a mini Derrick Henry, but I don't even like that comparison because Derrick Henry is built. He's not fat whatsoever. It's straight muscle. Lacy is only roughly 6 foot tall and 200 something pounds. He's short and stocky. That's why he was also a phenom in the NFL because nobody expected him to succeed. After winning Rookie of the Year, everybody was like, okay, let's see if he can do it again. And he did it again the next year. Not win Rookie of the Year, but have a great season. He had 40 less rush attempts and the same amount of yards. 1,100, was averaging 4.6 yards a carry with 9 touchdowns. His first 2 years, not for him, but any NFL running back, couldn't have gone better. Those are dreamlike numbers. I think what made him so durable and so good at the time is because he wasn't an explosive player, but he was almost like a bowling ball. He would always get you 3, 4, 5, maybe 10, 20 yards. He wasn't going to break off a long run. He was consistent. Fast forward in time to 2015, things start to get a little bumpy and our story takes a slow turn for the worst. In week 2 against the Seattle Seahawks, he had an ankle injury that wasn't bad, but an ankle injury, if you're an athlete, you know they're annoying. Sometimes you think it's healed, you go out there and you hurt it even worse and you're out for 6 to 8 weeks. He didn't just have that injury. In week 9 against the Carolina Panthers, he also had a groin injury. To follow that up, in week 10, the Packers declared him ineligible for the game, and then in week 13, he missed a team curfew. Overall, the 2015 year was the start to a huge downward trajectory. He still put up solid numbers and played 15 games, but it was a clear drop-off from the previous 2 seasons. He only had 758 yards with 3 touchdowns. Another key note I want to throw in there is he had 3 fumbles. 3 isn't a lot, but when you only have 3 touchdowns, that's a bad ratio. And now, 2016 is the year where everything starts to go haywire. He wound up injuring his ankle again against the New York Giants, and the team placed him on the injured reserve list. Here's the funny part about that. He started the first 5 games of the season, and he had his best average amount for rushing yards. He had 71 carries for 360 yards. He didn't have a touchdown or anything, but he was averaging over 5 yards a carry, which is insane for the NFL. I know what you may be thinking. Well, you said this story's going downhill. In 2016, if you look at his numbers, it was good. Yes, his performance was great. The key part to what we're about to get into is he was hurt. If you're an athlete and you're hurt, that's your only job in the NFL, what's the only thing to do? You go to rehab and you sit at home. And when you sit at home and you ain't got nothing to do, every human in the world does this. They get up and they eat. That is what Eddie Lacy did. He ate, and continued to eat. I would compare it to bored eating. I do this. I'm sure some of you guys do this. You're not really hungry, but you get up in the kitchen and find you a snack anyways. In 2016, it was bad. It was getting to the point where the head coach was noticing it. At the time, the head coach was McCarthy, and he told Eddie Lacy if he didn't lose weight, he was going to cut him from the team. In an interview, he said, quote unquote, "Eddie's got a lot of work to do. I'm stating the obvious. His offseason last year was not what it should be, and he never recovered from it. He cannot play at the weight he did this year. I'm sure most of you know this. If not, I'm going to give you a brief run through. When gaining weight, it's a slow process that you don't notice right away. It's pretty simple. I work out all the time, so I understand this. If you want to lose weight, you can't consume more calories than you're burning. To gain weight, you got to consume more than you're burning. It's almost vice versa. When Eddie Lacy was playing high school football and when he was playing for Alabama, he wasn't hurt a lot and he was always working out, so he didn't gain that much. But when he was playing for the Packers, he would have these off seasons where he could take vacations, do what he wants, not work out, and eat all the time. It caught up to him. I was doing some research myself. It appears his eating habits, they've been going on for a while, ever since he was at Bama. I'm going to read you off some tweets from 2011 and 2012 he put out there. Right here we got, guess I'll start my day off with some fast food. Under that, I'm about to go get Chinese food right now. I'll play you when I get back. If this tweet doesn't tell you the story, I don't know what will. I just remember that I'm sitting in class with a whole grill snack wrap in my pocket. LOL. And that was in 2011. We also got, I can't stop thinking about eating China food, shaking my head. Man, they got your boy in here eating a salad. Obviously, you don't like salads. And last but not least, eating my you know what here, knowing I'm supposed to be losing weight. Oh, and there's one more. He also put, me being hungry but having to work out instead of eating. Yeah, you can tell he'd rather eat than work out. He even stated it himself. There's many more tweets. That's just some of the ones I saw. He also made it clear in 2 or 3 of those, he likes Chinese food. He hasn't came out and done a lot of interviews and spoken about it. I did find one where he said this. They asked him about how he gained so much weight so fast. Here's what he said. Quote unquote, I always called it China food. There's no way around it. I love sesame chicken and shrimp fried rice so much. It's awesome. At this current point in time in our story, we're at the end of the 2016 season. Let's just say things didn't end so nicely. Green Bay and Lacy, they departed, but in 2017, he signed a 1-year, $5 million contract with the Seattle Seahawks. And in that contract, I can't even believe this was real. It was said he has to pass his way in, and if he does, if he's under 250 pounds or less, he will make another $55,000. To even think about and fathom the fact that was in the contract, it's unbelievable. That's how bad it was getting. In that season for the Seahawks, everyone was hoping he could return back to his prime. It didn't happen. It was very clear and evident. You could see when he moves, he wasn't like his first couple of seasons. In 9 games played, he had 69 carries for a miserable 179 yards, averaging a terrible 2.6 yards a carry. To put that in a better perspective, in his first 4 seasons for the Packers, he averaged over 4 yards a carry. I'm not going to rant and rave about it, you get the point. He was terrible for the Seahawks. To make matters even worse, it was also a crowded running back room and it wasn't a good fit. And that right there was pretty much the end of his stint in the NFL. No team wanted anything to do with him. After that 2017 season, he somewhat disappeared for 2 years up until 2019 when he had a tryout with the Baltimore Ravens, but they decided not to sign him. Eddie Lacy isn't a big social media person and I don't blame him because here's what he had to say in an interview. Quote unquote, I could pull up my Twitter right now and there would be fat comments in there somewhere. He said he could tweet, today is a beautiful day, and someone would be like, oh yeah, you're fat. And he sits there and thinks, what do you get out of that? The only thing I have to say about that, Eddie Lacy, it's Twitter, it's social media. People are going to troll you. I'm going to read you one more quote he said because it kind of shows you he's sensitive about it. Eddie said, people are always tweeting at me stuff like, I'm about to go get China food, shout out to Eddie. Or, hey Eddie, this China food is why you weigh 260 pounds. I was doing some more digging. The only thing it appears he's doing is tweeting motivational stuff on Twitter and Instagram. Normally, whenever you see these players have a brief stint in the NFL, they try to do a side hustle or a side business, but it appears he made enough money to kind of do whatever he wants. I'm not going to bore you with all the motivational stuff. You can go look it up yourself. But I did see on his Instagram, it looks like he's writing a book. The title of the book is Mental Wellness is the New Norm, and it's him talking about mental health and how he struggled with it. I was also somewhat curious as to what he looks like now, and I know some of you are too. He doesn't look that out of shape, but he definitely doesn't look like an NFL running back. He's still buff, he's still built, he could still whoop any of our butts, but I'm not too sure if he's agile like he was at Alabama or at Green Bay. All that doesn't matter. As long as he's happy and as long as he's doing good in life, that's the only thing you can ask for. He had a really fast fall off. I remember when he won Rookie of the Year, I thought he was going to be in the NFL for at least 10 seasons. I wouldn't have expected him to be out in only 4 or 5 more. Unfortunate. I'm wishing Eddie Lacy the best of luck, and I hope he continues to see a lot of success in whatever he chooses to do. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. But with all that being said, it's going to wrap up this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Happy Thanksgiving. Leave a like for more. And as always, let's be great. I'm out, y'all. Peace. Hit that subscribe button for me. I appreciate it.